There's so much good content that these people are leaking on me right now that I need to get to. First off, Alex's crush right there. Okay, we were talking about that before the show started. Then Hunter apparently is going on a cruise. I didn't know where he was going because Danny chimed in with he's going to Cozumel. Where the hell is Cozumel? It's Cozumel. I've never heard anyone say What's the word that you mispronounce all the time?
It's the E, something with an E.
Evolution.
Oh, evolution. Like
evolution, they're both correct.
I know who Eva Longoria. I know who Eva Longoria is.
Just like Cozumel and Cozumel.
Do you spell color with a U? Color with a U is right in some countries.
If I'm in Britain.
And I believe Canada.
No. And Australia. I don't know about Canada, but Australia and Britain.
Color with a U in
Good
Canada?
day. Good. Yeah. You know what? I might have misspoke on that.
Yeah.
And then Hunter's going on a cruise, which then led me to say, a cruise is nothing but a diarrhea maker. And which then got Alex to say, what do you mean? I've been on cruises, not pleasure cruises, military cruises. Those ships,
those are a little different.
No, they are not. Those ships are nothing but breeding grounds for disease. And anyone who's been on a float knows this. And so let me tell you something. It would start with one. You'd go through the passageways and you're like, oh, hey, notice you have a cold sore on your face. I have this thing about cold sores. I can't stand it.
Well, you're a germaphobe anyway.
They're very much so. And so you would notice, like I don't like to touch surfaces when I know other people's hands have been, and that's all a ship is. It's nothing but surfaces. And so, and this was before the advent. Really, the Iraq War or the Global War on Terror is what brought about the advent of hand sanitizer. Okay, that was the cleaning mechanism. Before that, there was like no hand sanitizer. Nobody had hand sanitizer. You just had to go to use soap and water. Not a lot of hand sanitizing stations on the ship. You had to go to the nasty head to go wash your hands, right? And so then you're going everywhere, touching handles, opening hatches, because heaven forbid you don't shut the hatches, ship sinks, if it floods. And so one person would be walking around with a cold sore. Then like 1,000 people would be walking around with a cold sore. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Oh, wow. That's right, germs. And so when Hunter comes back because he got dysentery, sorry, Hunter, I just want to say, 1, told you so. 2, kaopectate. 3, get some like you're going to the Nile River type shots. Because you're going on a cruise. You're going on a cruise, and all these people are nasty. And you got to understand that if you want to see nastiness in action, you go to any airport, not even a major airport. Go to any airport, and you go to the men's room. Not that I'm hanging out in the men's room at an airport, but when you go to the men's room, it's dudes who do not wash their hands. Like they're just in there. And I don't care if they,
we got the idea.
Men do not wash their hands. And the people going out there, I wash my hands. You're lying to yourself. Do not lie to the audience. Look in the mirror and know that you're the person going to the male restroom at an airport, not washing your hands, going to touch the tray tables. Hence why I wipe down the tray table seat belts and that little air conditioner thing over my head. Let's start the show now.
My gosh, I can see Tim getting in the airplane just wiping.
Let me give you a couple things here before we get hot and heavy into topics here. So real quick. So this is the AD. Somehow my pen changed to blue, not red. I don't know how it happened, but it's blue. So the ADD, like when you're looking to see
advanced decline line.
Thank you, advanced decline line. If you want to see if price is about to break, so here's a couple things that you can look at. You can look at, for the love of me, come on, stall, Danny, stall. I don't see
you like my shirt.
I had 7 minutes at the over under. What? How long are we into the show? Somebody, come on! Somebody tell
About
me how.
3 or 4.
Son of a gun, man! I would have lost that. I really thought he would go.
Well
7
done,
minutes.
Danny.
Yeah, well done, Danny. We all took a bet.
I was stalling for you.
No, while you were on the phone, how long it would take you to mention your shirt if none of us mentioned your shirt? I had 7 minutes. You went at 4.
You overshot.
Sure. I know, really.
You thought you knew him.
I thought I did. Yeah. So look, here is look at my bottom right. This isn't the best chart. I can't find it, but when you don't have, and you haven't moved up, and you don't have plus 800 to 1,000 ticks on the day, and this is a very poor chart. Look, I know I can't find the chart that I'm looking for. We haven't had any really buying or any really selling ticks today. Price then is able to move with this metric, ADD. And so the ADD is heading lower. Look for price to head lower. If the ADD is going lower in advance of price, most likely you're going to see a break in price a little bit later. The ADD is a leading indicator. I thought I'd bring it up as I saw it, and I see it right now. Now, second thing, okay? I've been hostily accused of being a bear. Now, I think I'm handsome, but Danny has called me and saying, stop being a bear, okay? And I just want to point out.
Where's the Timmy Bear?
I was going to say, Don doesn't have the prop. I can already sense Don. If Don reaches under the desk and pulls out the bear.
Oh, he's got it in the closet.
There you go. Did he pull it out of the closet? That's funny.
He's got you ought to just have it right next to you, Don, like your wingman.
So here's what I did. I just want to show you why the month of October. When I didn't do September, I just did the month of October. Here is 20 years of Octobers. Okay, real quick. This isn't a dissertation, but I could have easily just downloaded the October 1 to October 30, and then found the mean, median, and mode, and said this is the I could do the average for you, the average return. Look, if you're a buy and holder, none of what I'm about to say matters to you. You just buy indices, right? Or you just buy stocks. If you're an active market trader, this matters. If you are an options trader, this acutely matters to you. What I'm about to cover. And so, look, I'm going to try to put it in present mode so people can see the charts at home. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, it works. It worked. I didn't think it would work. Look, over here. So, look, these aren't massive dips. Someone's going to say -5%. Look, I want to point out a couple of things as we progress on these charts. These are daily charts, okay? This dotted line that you see here is options expiration. Look what happens after options expiration, okay? I only did through, that's November. This is October. I only did the month of October. I'm not running it through
November, December. Unless
price had a continuation through there. Like you can see here. Price was here and here. You went down almost 10%. Look, but look what you get. When you get two closes above the 21, that starts a new trend. As long as the 21 holds, it's a daily chart. That you wade back in. It's a market. Anything can happen. If you wade back in, two closes above the 21, you might be on the cusp of a new trend. You might also be on the cusp of get the rug pulled out from you because it's October. October is notorious for doing this. And so here's 03, 04. And so before I just run through these lickety split, why go back so far? This encompasses almost every economic scenario I can imagine. We have a dot-com sell-off. We have the real estate market plunge, right? The Great Recession. We have the first signs of tightening in the market, which was 2018, where the Palster comes out and says, we're going to tighten. And you'll see what happens.
Black Tuesday was October too.
Well, I didn't go back to 87. Okay. I mean, 01. Is the color from the tie-dye getting to you? What did you dye that with? Is it getting to your...
My daughter made this for me. Yeah? She was in her tie-dye phase a couple of years ago, and she really wanted to tie-dye something for me. And I'm like, nah. So I gave her an old button-down shirt, and she tie-dyed it. And then tonight they have their football game,
right?
And you're supposed to wear pink,
right?
I guess for breast cancer awareness month.
Hold on, one is for it's not for breast awareness. It's for
I'm aware of breast. Yeah. So anyway, this is the only shirt I have that has pink in it, infused in it. So I decided to wear it in honor of my daughter.
I think it's great.
And breast awareness.
I think it's great you're wearing it because I even if I feel like my daughter made that, I would be weird and I wouldn't want to wear it. But you're doing it. Good for you.
I'm styling it, man. I'm gonna be the most stylish dad at the football game.
It's true.
Moving on. So
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with anything you said. Yeah, go ahead.
You mean with moving on? Yes. 04. You down 4.5%. Look at this. But look, when you get the two closes, okay, when you get those closes above, I did my marker. When you get those closes above the 21 on a daily chart, it could lead to this big move higher. But look, I'm telling you, October will take the salt out of it. It just does. It doesn't have to. 2006, we don't need to ad nauseum. If you want this, I'm more than happy to send it to anybody. You can poke holes and Tim, you didn't cover this or you didn't cover these specific economic conditions. Look, the OX on my chart just stands for options expiration. The punchline here, look at this, no pullback. What pullback is what WPB stands for? There was no pullback, right? It held the 21. Here's 2011. Here's 2011 still. You got the pullback afterwards. Look at this. 2011 October, down 5.5% first half of the month. Then after options expiration, they get you for another 10. Good luck. Here's
that's the seasonality of sell in May and go away.
Except it's October.
May through October. No, but you're supposed to get out through October and then you buy in November.
But if anybody heard what I said on one of the videos I did recently, I think once you cleared all this, I think November is a time to. I think you got to clear this. 2013, look, 3%. That's no big deal. 2014, 7%, almost 8%. 2015, right? 2016, 2017, and look, if you're like Tim, you're going too fast. Trick. You can pause the video and stare at this all you want. Okay, so for anyone at home,
but many of the biggest market drops happened in October.
They happened in October. That's why I and I'm going to show you some charts in a second. Here's 2018.
I think even the big one in 1929 was October. It might have been November.
Okay. I started at 01 with this.
Yeah,
okay.
I know you did.
So 2018 was the first time Japal, the French Japal, the puppet of Geppetto, right? Geppetto was the puppeteer that made Pinocchio, right?
Yes.
Japal is the puppet of the Biden administration.
How do you spell that?
Japal?
Yeah.
Like Dave Chappelle, except with the J-E in front of it.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah, Japal. Or maybe it's P-O-W. You know what? It doesn't matter. Make it up. Yeah. Japal, the puppet of the Biden administration, started talking about, then the Trump administration started about tightening here in 2018. That is a monstrous effect from October to December, down 20%. I remember this explicitly because the big cap tech stocks were not acting properly. And my clue here was Amazon. Like Amazon for time immemorial would go on this Christmas run.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude,
didn't happen.
This Christmas run ain't happening. There's something wrong with the market.
Santa's got a hangover or something. Something's going on.
Yeah, something. And so that was tightening. But look here. Look at 2019. 2019 was a great year for the consumer, for just a whole bunch of good things. Only down 4% beginning of the month. Look at 2020, last year. Pandemic year, almost down 9%, right? And a lot of that happened after options expiration. So then that is the end of our show, boys and girls. And now let's take a look really quickly what's happening right now. And so when I'm looking here at ES, right, on a daily chart, you've got those two closed above 21, right? Too many lines. I should have cleaned up this chart. You've got the two closed above 21. You're above the 200-day. Fantastic. This needs more. This is not right now. It could be turning positive. There's something that has me on the fence. There's two things that have me on the fence. Like, is this going to be a move? And look, it's not arguing it's going lower or going higher. There's two things that have me really concerned. One is the leader. The SPX is not the leading indice over the time period I just covered. It's the NASDAQ's the leading indice over the time period I covered. The 20 years that I just covered, it's the NASDAQ. And when I'm on the daily chart, right here, you haven't even cleared the 50-day. That's not healthy yet.
Well, but I do. It does beg the question, though. Will it switch to S&P style stocks for one reason? Well, there's a difference now. Now we have rising interest rates and a stronger dollar. Before we had dropping interest rates, and that's good for tech stocks. So because of rising rates, tech stocks may not be.
I don't disagree with you. And that's why I really wanted to highlight that 2018 chart. 2018 was a very similar situation with dollar and rates. And this is what the S&Ps did. And I always talk in S&Ps. I'm not switching to talking NASDAQ, but the NASDAQ's the lead. The S&Ps
over to yes.
Yeah, the NASDAQ is where your
growth.
Okay, I'm going to get Tom Brady off because now those eyes are just distracting me.
Do you have a man crush on Tom Brady?
No, Alex's boyfriend throws a good football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so here is the Dixie, the dollar. As long as the dollar is bullish, I think it resolves because the correlation hasn't changed yet. The dollar's
meaning it's a headwind for stocks.
It absolutely is, and for a number of reasons that we're about to transition to. But if the dollar broke lower, like it broke below the 21, I think that's I think you see tech stocks explode, and this market is on its way to new highs. That's what I think is actually going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. Like this dollar.
Well, the other factor is now we're going into earnings seasons, and if earnings are perceived as beating or doing well, and remember, most companies sandbag anyway, so they can beat earnings even if they're not good quarter over quarter. The story is that they're good.
I'm not going to discount anything you said. I'm just because what do I?
You shouldn't have. Is damn smart, genius.
Oh,
True.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Zach. Checks in the mail.
Got it. Yeah.
Checks in the mail. The dude takes cash, man. But if this dollar broke, I think
Venmo.
Yeah. If this dollar does Venmo have fees?
I'm sure they do.
If you let them link to your personal checking account, no. If you're going to put it on a credit card, yeah, then they whip you.
I never let these companies link to my personal.
Neither do
no,
I.
I don't blame you.
I'll pay the fee.
Yeah, I'll pay the fee gladly. Dixie here, though, needs to break. The dollar needs to break. It's been until that correlation goes away, that the dollar is positive now. And let me see what's happened here. Well, markets aren't falling apart, but the weaker the dollar, I think it's better for stocks. Yeah. And then I believe that's the correlation that you'll see happen. But we'll see the market play out. Like the good news is, as an individual investor, which is who we talk to and who we work for and who we try to empower with information and actionable insight, is you don't have, no one's got the proverbial gun to your head. Like you don't have to bet at all. Like you don't have to. There's no reason to be angry about markets. They're going to do what they're going to do. All you can do, because we don't know the next tick in the market, is just take in what you see, use a little precedence for it, and then, and I'm telling you, this October month is really tough. And because you're going to get two close above the 21, and then the rug gets pulled out from under you. I think there's a clue here. I think the dollar's telling you that, like, maybe the aggro out there, the aggressive person out there, maybe not be so aggressive. Just wait to see what the hell happens, because this dollar has proven in the last, 2 or 3 months, it's popped up its head. Be cautious. But
we've gotten a lot more aggressive, but we also have a very defined sell discipline.
Yeah, no. If
so you get out tomorrow,
or
today even.
You could get out. You could get out like right now. Yeah. But what's going to be driving the dollar is what Danny's going to cover. So Danny did a real popular segment last week, all in economics. I heard from the IPO club they would like you to be more angry about it. So
you could bump up that tempo.
Yeah, if you could bump it up a little bit. But there's a lot that and it's not just the dollar.
In my picture.
Yeah, like traders aren't bidding up the dollar here. This isn't the traders are not coming and going, hey, let's bid up the dollar. Like there's forces at work that are bidding up the dollar, and I believe that this is not what Jepal wants, because Jepal wants markets to be placid, and if the dollar rears up its ugly head, it's probably going to rate. It's probably going to do what he does. It's going to do something he doesn't want to have happen. Meaning, the rates are going to go higher in sync with the dollar, and he's not in control of that rate raise. It's market forces. The big difference between the Fed being in charge of the rate raise and the market forces being in charge of the rate raise. There's a huge difference there. So, Danny, tell me what is going to affect the dollar. What are the two forces that you want to talk about?
Well, so inflation and rates are really the two key drivers of what's going to happen with the dollar and how much money Congress does or doesn't spend.
Right. It's but it's the CPI and the PPI.
The CPI and the PPI are really so the Producers Price Index. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows what the CPI is, a Consumer Price Index, and that's a basket of goods or services, and they measure it month over month. So it's kind of a moving average. You're looking at time and you're looking at prices. Everybody knows we've got, when they talk about inflation, that's CPI. Mm-hmm. And so right now it's running about 5.5% according to them. Now, they break it out into different segments. So the one they like to quote is CPI ex food and energy, because that's lower. It doesn't make them look as irresponsible, because a really high number makes the powers that be look like they're not in control. If you have high inflation, people get worried, right? So, but everybody eats and everybody drives, so CPI ex food and energy is really worthless in my opinion. Those are the two most important things that I spend money on. Now, the PPI is the classical definition is it's a quote of, and this is based on the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. It's the family of indexes measure of average of supply, goods and services, the inputs over time.
Yeah.
So the inputs can be wage, commodities, raw materials. And believe me, if you go to their chart, and by the way, I can send you this report. I got a PDF. It's only 140 pages long of light reading and statistics. But,
was that a humble brag? Felt like a humble
I
brag.
didn't read the whole thing.
Right.
Are you kidding? So, but the first 10 pages really encapsulates the summary of the whole report. The next, 130 pages really are just supporting docs and
if you want that report,
and it's a lot of boring picture charts. So if you really want like a spreadsheet chart of it,
if you want that report and you're listening on the podcast, what you get Google Play Store, Apple, iTunes Store, you just search for Revere Asset Management. Dan at Revere Asset. Just send him a note and he'll send you the report.
Dan at Revere Asset, right? So anyway, all I'm saying is they break it down, and they break it down on time frames. So kind of like Don's in this, short-term, mid-term, and long-term time frames for the markets. Just like that, they break it down inputs going through the pipeline. So they got like, a couple weeks out, short-term, mid. They call it, I think, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but it doesn't matter. And then you got final demand, final output prices. And so the overall number for year to date is 6.3, kind of the blended one that most people
for consumer.
PPI
for producer.
For producer. Now it's 7% since December. If you tack on December since the changing of the guard, so it's 7%. Now that's with the kind of blended average. And by the way, they're talking about recalibrating this early next year in January 2020. They're not sure whether they are or not, but they're talking about it obviously because they're worried about people getting nervous. And they do that with CPI too. They manipulate it when it starts getting too high. They they change how they count the numbers, and so they can keep a lid on it. But here's the big kind of surprising one. So for the commodity prices, so when you break it out from labor and other inputs, and you go to kind of the commodity inputs, and you go to processed and unprocessed. Okay, so really kind of raw materials to kind of through the manufacturing pipeline. Unprocessed was 28% year to date. So processed is 18.5. So really, it's not the absolute number, that 7% or 6.3 that I talked about. It's the fact that it's increasing, and it's still increasing. So if the PPI is increasing, that flows through to the PPI.
The CPI.
CPI, excuse me.
Pause there 1 second. What Danny just said is they're going to pass on their higher cost to you and me.
Yes. Now, so that really is the story. Now, here's the other story. I was doing some research, and we've heard about this big bottleneck in California. So the classical definition of inflation is just the Fed printing too much money and sticking it in there. It's not technically supply and demand, like a supply and demand disruption, like the shipping problem off the coast of California. All these big cargo ships, you've read about them, are just sitting in port. And the argument, and now that, even though that's supply demand, it hits us in the form of higher prices, so it feels like inflation. So I don't care whether it's supply demand problem, disruption, or inflation. It's all the same to me. It hurts my disposable income, and it slows the economy because I have less to spend. It hurts. It can have a negative effect on the economy. Right? Now, we've been told that the reason that we've had this bottleneck in California at these ports is because COVID related. They got all these restrictions in place, and they got to clean every time a ship comes in. They've got to vet the people on board the ship, and then they got to clean all the containers that come off, and they've got to kind of rotate, and that's really the story we've been told. But this guy did this, and I'll send you this report too if you want. It's a report that a guy did, and he's talking about California in October 16, 2020. They enacted this. They kind of had it in place, and it's this huge emissions deal where if you have a truck to go pick up those big cargo containers at the port of LA or the port of Long Beach, the two major ports in California, you've got to have a truck 3 years or newer that meets all those new emissions test.
Right.
Now think about that. That basically just precluded every small and mid-sized private trucking company there because they don't have the money to go buy a whole new fleet of trucks. And in fact, it actually excluded a lot of the big trucking companies that simply aren't going to pay for a whole new fleet. They just don't have the timing or cash flow. And the government of California, they didn't like phase it in where they just said, okay, I'll tell you what, next time you buy a truck, it's got to be a new truck with these certain emissions. It's just, we're just doing it, and we're doing it right now. And nobody's talking about that. You don't see that in any of the reports. You don't see that in the media. Nobody's telling you that. So you just had 50% of the trucks come offline. Now, Biden and his administration with the unions, the longshoremen, came and said, they did a press release last week, said, we're going to fix this. We're going to come out, and we've had them agree to work 3 continuous shifts, 24-hour shifts. They're going to work full time around the clock, and we're going to get this thing resolved. Here's the problem, Tim. So they take the container off the ship, which is what those longshoremen do, and now they're just stacking them up on the dock. They're running out of dock space. So you still have the same amount of the finite trucks that are cut by 50%. They can only load those trucks, fill them up, and take them off so fast. So now one of their solutions is the trucks that, quote, aren't compliant, that can't even come into California, which, by the way, that cost Californians lots of cost because you increase the price. Mm-hmm. They're going to meet them at the state line. They're bringing these trucks to the state line that are compliant, unloading them and loading them into another truck in other states, and then that compliant truck goes back to the port and starts over again. So you're having to transport it to 2 trucks, which also cost a lot more money.
Pause for a second. You're telling me
you've got to be kidding.
I was about
to.
Let me.
Are we the dumbest country? Well, state, I should say. I can't understand. I mean, truth really is stranger than fiction. Nobody could imagine this.
Nope.
If you tried to write a story, the idiocy that goes on in some of these states is just mind-boggling.
This was the alternate ending to Squid Games on.
Oh, is this how it ends?
Yeah, this is how it ends.
I haven't finished watching it yet.
Yeah. Danny, let me just.
Also stopped gas-powered landscaping equipment is going to be
outlawed.
They're getting strict on that again too. It's going to be all electric, which is a disaster for landscapers.
So hold on a second. So you mean I just want to make sure that I understand this. So if the cab of the truck, not the trailer part, but the cab of the truck wasn't manufactured in
the last 3 years.
So so it has to be 2018 and newer.
Well, it says 3. I mean, I don't know whether it's 2017 or 2018. Bottom line is, you got to have a pretty damn new truck.
So a 2015 tractor trailer
cannot go in
to the port.
To California, I think, but definitely the ports. 2 ports, they cannot go into.
This is nuts.
So the ones that are compliant that can go into the port, they go, they fill them up, they leave, and then they go and meet another truck, take all the stuff out, stick it in the non-compliant truck, and then go back to the port.
Alex will know this because I know it too. Okay, so I'm driving into California for the first time, like in 2000, in my little Pontiac Grand Am SE 2-door coupe, 1987. And Alex knows this. He has to know this. It's on the 8, not the 10. So I'm on the 8, which is Southern Arizona, and I'm about to go over the mountain. I had no idea the mountains were that tall. I just geographically challenged Tim here. And like, there's these big cement barrels, and apparently that's where you would unheat your overheated car from driving up over. They fill them with water so you can get your radiator cooled off and keep trucking along. I'm like, holy shit. And it's nuts. So you're going to drive these trucks over it's got to be a waste of energy. It's got to be the biggest waste of energy. Alex, have you done that drive?
Apparently it's better. Yeah, there's also, they have these these big scales for the trucks.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what's going to happen with the whole cargo thing that you're talking about. There's so many regulations and red tape. How is that better for I don't want to get too much into politics, but I can't imagine this is better for the
There's so much lack of common sense here. But the other thought too is that I have 2 thoughts on this real quick. I don't understand. Just because the port goes to 24 hours doesn't mean there's the people to work it.
Well, and see, that's the other. Well, no, they've got enough people to work it. That's they do, and the union has agreed to do it. The point is, it doesn't matter. All they're doing is taking the cargo.
But the union doesn't control the truck drivers. There's not enough truck drivers.
There's not. Forget the truck drivers. There's not enough trucks. Even if they gave you a truck license, Tim, tomorrow you could go in there on your tricycle.
Yeah,
but you can't get a truck in there. So it's cut the available trucks that are suitable, that are approved by over 50%. Therein lies the problem. And guess what? So Amazon, so these big companies, Amazon, where's that list? Amazon, Home Depot, let me find them. It's right here. There's a whole list of them. They all knew about it, but because they didn't want to get it, so it's Amazon, Home Depot. Where is it? Where is it? Stall for me, Tim.
Okay. I've got.
I got it. Amazon, Walmart, UPS, FedEx, Samsung, Home Depot, Target, to name a few. They all kind of knew that this was happening,
right?
And so they started making, because they've got buying power, they've got power and enough buying power to get big contracts to circumvent and go to other places. So if you're going to,
they took out their own container ships.
And see, small and mid-sized businesses and importers can't do that. So number one, you're hurting small businesses. You're raising their price, and if ships from Asia and China go through the Panama Canal and go to East Coast ports or the Gulf of Mexico here in Texas or Florida, which is what DeSantis was saying, we'll take you here in Florida. Come on, guys. Yeah. But you know what that does? That doubles
the sail time,
the cost of shipping.
Yeah.
Doubles the cost. And so does transporting it from 2 trucks. And so this is going to cause that PPI pipeline we were talking about, because transportation input costs are in that cost. What do you think is going to happen? You think they're just going to eat that? They're going to pass that on to the consumer. It's going to go through the consumer price index. So number one, now the story's getting out that there is a problem, there's a bottleneck, which is absolutely true. Now, whether that's, so regardless of the real reason, I mean, it's important, but even if you put that aside for a minute, everybody's telling you to go shop early for Christmas because come December, there ain't going to be any goodies in Santa's bag, right? It's going to be empty.
Are you saying Santa's sack's going to be empty?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So they're going to they're telling everybody to go buy Christmas early, right? That actually could pull prices forward and drive up prices, and you're going to have shortages later, which is going to drive up prices. So it's a perfect storm where you're going to have. So I don't see this PPI and CPI going down or taming anytime soon, unless they absolutely just do a Russian roulette and cause a recession.
Boys are about to have their toilet paper. You know what's interesting? Signet Jewelers, which is a mover this week, on other news. But I was listening to a replay of the CEO talking. She ships via air. So it's a luxury good. Jewelry is a luxury good.
It's also very light, so it's easier to ship.
Yeah. and so, but it's interesting that this is a standout here right now in the market. But to the truck driver thing, so I was doing some reading a couple weeks ago, and I just verified it while you were talking. They were trying to get the truck, because there's a real shortage of truck drivers. It's a skill set.
Yes.
Like if anyone drives on the roads of Texas, there's a reason why there's billboards. Have you been hurt in a wreck? Like,
it is, man.
It's the trucks here are pretty aggressive.
Well, but it's hard to back. Look, I drive a horse trailer every once in a while. Backing that stuff up is tough.
I'm not. Look, it's a skill. I'm not. I'm just saying that I've lived like 8 places, in this country, and this is the worst I've ever seen trucks this aggressive. Or I'm getting older. Like I could be just getting older, right? Like get off my lawn older, but
probably a little of both.
A little bit of both. The truck drivers here are super aggressive. Who's the hammer? The Texas Hammer.
Jim Adler.
Jim Adler. Yes, the Texas Hammer.
I heard the other day he can't practice anymore.
What?
No idea. If
the Texas Hammer?
Yeah. Maybe somebody can write in the show and tell me.
Go.
I have no idea if that's
I think
true.
he brought his son in, but anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his son is now trying to do
The mallet?
John Adler. I think.
The mallet.
No, he's trying to do the hammer.
The mallet. He's a mini hammer.
There's a billboard downtown. It's not nearly as cool as Dad's.
I love lawyer nicknames. Like lawyer nicknames are the best. Like in how there's
the strong arm.
The strong arm. Yeah, like who is the strong arm? Tell me who the strong arm is.
I don't know. I think he might have expired.
Did he? He did. He took his own life. Yeah.
After his daughter.
But they keep him going. Yeah, his daughter.
He had a successful
practice. Yeah. So we'll just get off that joke quick.
Anyway, moving along.
Yeah, moving along. So truck driver age is 21. And normally I'm like a big proponent. Like you go fight for war, you should be able to go do.
I think you should be able to drink beer if you can.
Yeah.
If you're legal to go die for our country, you should be able to do anything else.
I'm typically a huge proponent. Smoke cigarettes. Do what you want to do. At 18, because if you can vote at 18, you can go serve at 18. You should be able to do a lot of things at 18. I am actually not a proponent of allowing. I believe 21 years old. I know they're grown men, but they're kids. I know. A lot of people don't think of them as kids. They're young. Let me just say they're young. There's a lot of people in this world that cannot drive an automobile at a younger age. Okay, 21 should absolutely, positively be the minimum age to drive a missile down the road. That's what cars are, right? Like 90 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour. They're missiles.
They run on explosions.
Yes, they run on miniature explosions going off under a thin veil of metal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like we need some gravitas. We need some situational awareness is like one of my favorite 2 words. Like you need to have perspective. Like these trucks ruin people's lives in the wrong hands and with people who aren't making good decisions potentially. And a lot of bad decision making happens when you're younger because you lack what, Daniel? Not because Tim hates the young. Don't let that be the headline. Because you lack what? At a youth. Experience and perspective. And what's the old song? Is it the Beatles song? Or what's the old adage? Like, I wish I had my youth, but anyway, I've gooned it all up. But I wish I had the perspective I have now. Youth is wasted on the young. That's what it is. There's a song where a phrase is "youth is wasted on the young," and
I don't think that's the Beatles.
That's not the Beatles? Can someone just Google "youth is wasted on the young" and tell me where it came from? But I don't think you should. You're not going to solve it by lowering the age. I think you're going to make a problem worse. And someone I've heard say, well, just I was doing some reading on this. Someone said, just pay them more. I'm not sure that's. There's a lot of jobs that are just paying more and they're still not being filled. Hunter, you might know this. You do a lot of research. Is it 10 million people left the workforce in September?
It's the highest number ever.
Yeah.
Record. Now, they also said, oh, it's because here's the story. Here's the distraction, the spin. They said, well, it's because the job market is so strong and that the wages are good. So people actually left the workforce and they quit. They quit. That was the record number because they're going to go get another job. They're going to get another job elsewhere for higher pay or something they like to do. Well, if that's true, then new hires would also be very, very high. It was a huge miss. Yeah. New jobs created was a huge miss. So they're having some issues right now.
I'll tell you what. Do you have anything more on inflation? Because I don't think this is going away.
Well, no. I think that's. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but we're definitely going to have so far month over month. It keeps going.
Skyrocketing prices.
It's PPI and CPI are still moving up.
Yeah, this is not going. The story is not going away. It's just how does it develop and then reflect on the market. Hunter, that brings me now to you, brother. Let's do some stocks. Let's talk. By the way, Danny, you're real quick. This chart you're talking about. This is 12-month percentage changes. Look at this, not seasonally adjusted. This is the research where Danny was started his research. Super interesting when you look at food, energy, right?
Oh.
If you want,
there's a PPI chart that is a line chart.
Hold it up.
That's literally just going vertical. Hang on. It's right there. I don't know if you can see that. That line's pretty right there.
It looks like the monetary. Looks like the M2, doesn't it?
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That graph's going up.
That's the rate of change, baby.
Is that? Yep, that graph proves it. All right, we got a line. It's going up. It proves our point. Yes, we are king.
I drew that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
right. It was Sharpie.
Like 100% official on a piece of paper in black and white.
Look at this.
Lower left, upper right.
It's in that 140-page report. If anybody wants to get it, just email me.
That's right.
I'll let you read it.
Do not question our research. Hunter, take it away.
All right. Well, first, I got some interesting stuff, just some data on the indices, Tim, just to kind of go back and play devil's advocate to what you were talking about. And forgive me, I'm writing one last thing down here. So, to your point about the NASDAQ being a little bit of a laggard and not being over the 50-day, that is 100% correct. That's because the NASDAQ was the weakest on the way down. IWM and MDY, meaning Russell and small caps, didn't really correct very much.
No.
The S&P and the Dow, however, pulled back about 5 to 6%, while the Qs pulled back about 8 to a little bit over 8% at the lows.
Yep.
So from that standpoint and from that point of those lows, they've all come up. And when I say all, I mean the Qs, the Dow, and they've all increased about 5%. The Q might have a slight edge. It's increased from the lows, but they've moved up in tandem pretty much. So it would be expected that the Qs would be below the 50, given their correction was a little bit deeper, and they were about the same extension from their moving averages when the correction started. So that is one point. But we also have 2 closes above the 50 and 21, barring anything crazy happening today, on the Dow and the S&P. Mm-hmm. We obviously have that on the IWM and the MDY. And then with the Qs, we are below the 50, but we are most likely headed for 2 closes above the 21. So I do see your point. You want the Qs to get over that 50. I agree. Around this time can be a volatile time of the year. But I think if you see the 21 that is now beneath the Qs begin to act as support, and ultimately you do see 2 closes above the 50, I mean, if the Qs are getting above the 50 and getting 2 closes, that probably means continuation in the other indices as well. So that would be like the main last thing I'm watching is, can the Qs clear the 21, give you some consecutive closes above it?
I think it's more the dollar. I think the dollar breaks below the 21. You're going to see the Qs just explode
higher.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Explode. Implode.
I just wanted to clarify.
I was going to say explode means higher, right? Like explode.
Well, explode could also mean
it's implode.
Yeah, you're right. I get it.
Sometimes I get English good.
I get English good.
Yeah.
I speak English.
It's an exogenous event when it happens.
Oh, that's an inside joke, stock nerds.
Extragenous.
You got to go back and listen to a few podcasts ago to get that joke.
How do you spell that? So I know what you're saying. I think the dollar is the key. I think if something happens,
it certainly has been the last month or 2.
Yeah, that trend until the trend's the 21, right? And maybe that's all happening right now. Like the dollar's about to cycle out lower and about to light that match. Go ahead, man.
I got some interesting individual stocks ranging across pretty much every sector, just some very different sectors. First, Tim, will you pull up FCX Freeport? And I just want to highlight there's been a big change in character in regards to copper, which is what FCX most commonly moves in tandem with. So pull up CPER, the ETF, Tim, or the futures, whatever you want to do.
I was gonna just pull up. It's HG. Pardon me.
So you can see obviously a big move, and so the important thing to take away is, and FCX in particular lagged the leading steel stocks for the better part of since they peaked back in early, I think that's around March, April, in that range. Which you're looking at copper here, but FCX moves pretty similarly. But we're starting to see that dynamic change, and the new cores and the STLDs, which are your steel companies, are weaker and they're kind of in downtrends, whereas FCX is breaking out and has volume. So a shift in character in that metals and mining type of space. Also, Tim, the next name I want to pull up is AA, another metal and mining company that isn't so heavy steel. They're actually more involved in aluminum. They're breaking out on pretty massive earnings today. The market obviously very happy with it, about 400% above average volume. Another name in the transportation space, JBHT, also breaking out today on pretty big volume. Go ahead.
I just want to make sure. Somebody asked me on Twitter, can the fellas, meaning the three guys on camera, well, we're all on camera, can they say when they own something and don't own it?
Yes.
Yes. Just, do you own any of the stocks you talked about?
Yeah. Well, yeah. None of the ones that I've mentioned thus far I own.
That's yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got confused. Just for clarity's sake, you don't own it. The shop doesn't own any of the stocks that we just talked about.
That's correct.
No,
That's
correct.
okay.
Yeah.
By the way, in Britain and Australia, they pronounce it aluminium. Aluminum.
Thanks, Dan.
I think that's true.
Just want to let you know. Yes.
Dan has all the enunciations and pronunciations down.
Hey, on
pat.
back of the, on
Global,
back of how they
cultural.
Illuminum.
on back of how they spell
Aluminum.
color with a U. Let me show you how they. Let me show you when they're asking for Reynolds wrap how it goes.
All right.
God bless.
I do. I've
I
got
got
some
that,
more
Tim.
here,
Don't worry.
Tim.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I feel
And just kind of
Zach. Thank
no,
you.
you're
for
good.
saying
In keeping with this, the metals or the commodity type of environment, right? AA, a lot of that stuff is a commodity: aluminum, steel, FCX, copper.
Mhm.
You also are seeing strong moves in the uranium market. URA is the ETF there, Tim. It's actually made a really strong move at the beginning of the week. Now, over the last 2 days, has pulled back pretty nicely and acting pretty well here. So strong moves in uranium. Also pull up LAC, Tim. This is Lithium Americas Corporation, a lithium miner. You're seeing strong moves in this area. So to your point about inflation, I mean, it's 100%. Like we've had confirmation from the Fed members it's staying for longer than we anticipated, et cetera. And you're seeing that in nearly every commodity chart. I mean, pull up LPX, Tim. This is the wood company that went so crazy at the beginning of the year. This is a great looking chart and nobody's talking about it. So there's evidence of this, but there's a lot of stocks or sectors that are benefiting from it beyond the conventional commodities that most people think of. And that's pretty interesting too, Tim, when you compare it to lumber, the way LPX's chart looks.
Let me for people that might have missed it, look at lumber. Wow. But look, you're not seeing a beat down in home prices. This is the thing. I don't care what anyone tells you. You are not going to see the only thing that brings a reduction in prices is when the businesses are hurting.
So when sales go down, right?
It's the only time. And if you want any just like clear example of that, tell me the last time Starbucks lowered their prices on coffee, and that is a commodity that moves often. The only time a commodity moves.
Well, that from an investor standpoint, that means their margin should be better. So
right. Oh yeah, no. People do put that trade on exactly what you just described. LBX. I'm sorry.
One last one.
What
Tim.
was the chart, Hunter? LPX.
LPX is Louisiana Pacific.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah,
There you go.
they're kind of
Just
the biggest, most liquid.
Inverse chart. Go ahead, buddy.
And then, Tim, my last one is Affirm, AFRM. And I know it's been talked about before. I know Alex has done a video on it, but there's really one key point that I want to highlight. And that is, since that first gap up, which is going to be on 830, I believe, that up to around 100. I think 101 was the high. Since that point, average volume has increased about fold on this individual stock. So it went from trading about 2.8 million shares per day to trading around 13 or 14 million per shares, or 13, 14 million shares per day now. And that's steadily climbing. We've actually seen over the last 8 days, it's traded about 10x its volume prior to the gap. So not only are we seeing a vast changing character in price, you're seeing that reflected in the volume. This is, I mean, you can look at the volume pattern. I don't know if you can pull that up in here, Tim, but it's a pretty substantial move. Obviously, I believe on 10/6 traded 53 million shares per day. Wasn't anything close to that on the previous life of the stock.
And in full disclosure, we do own that.
That is correct.
So here you can see it. So I've been working with a different workspace. So here you can see there's the big volume spike. It's a tiny line. I'm trying to make it bolder. It's really hard to do on costs.
Well, you can still see the lines. Yeah, they get much taller.
That's a 50-day
you know what?
simple
A good comparison is Upstart or SI. Pull up those charts as well, Tim. And you'll see.
I always try to get him to put it in white in background. He fights me on that because in white you'd be able to see the lines.
No.
So Upstart, if you go back to like this would be like March of this year, you can see volume picks up and that 50-day average begins to get much taller. And then go to SI, Tim, and look at like around October, November of last year. And you can see the same thing. We went from, hardly trading any shares on SI, being very low, like 300,000-400,000 a day, to now we're consistently around 800,000. So you're looking, it's just another thing to examine. When you see a change in character and price, does volume follow that? And is it sustained and is it continuing? And for the time we're seeing that on Upstart, we have seen that with and it's a good sign to see with those strong price moves, the strong volume change in character as well.
Awesome. Is it all you got, brother?
Yes, sir. That's it. I know that was a lot, but
no, it's awesome. Awesome work. Alex, what do you have? The Tom Brady of finance. What do you have?
Yeah, right. I did put out a bonus stock video last night. You can go to our YouTube channel and type in.
Whoa, you're doing that on your own? No prompting?
Yeah.
Holy.
Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Oh my gosh.
Notification.
Upstairs School of Broadcasting, baby.
Holy hell.
There's 3 bonus stocks out right now that I had gone over. Actually, I want to piggyback off of Hunter here on Affirm. If you could pull that back up. I wanted to talk about something. When a market is in, let's say, correction like it was last week, and you start to see leading stocks like Affirm, you can see that big bar there. I think it was October 4th. That big bar, it went from like 110 to 120.
I'm sorry. October 4th. Yes.
Yes, right there.
Yep.
So this is around when the market started to turn. But what I do, and technique that our viewers could maybe pick up on, is if you start to see like leading stocks like Affirm or Upstart or DOC and DOCN, they start to move higher with a lot of strength and volume. That's a cue to me that the market is shifting. Because you got to remember, leading stocks are called leaders for a reason. They lead the market. It's not the other way around, and that's why you could have a year where the stock market, let's say the S&P 500, is up 10%, but some stocks go up 200 to 300%. So you gotta follow the individual names. You have to watch your watch list. What is your watch list telling you? Mine was telling me to buy. So I do own Affirm in my personal. Another stock that's on the bonus list is Dutch Bros, BROS.
I love how he says Dutch Bros.
Dutch Bros. We actually own this in-house too at Revere.
We don't know. You know what? Hold on a second. I've gotten this question like 3 times, and the same person has me like 3 times. We don't own any of those. Do you own Affirm or Upstart?
Yeah, we own Affirm. Yes.
Okay. The shop owns Affirm.
Yes.
The shop owns Upstart.
Bros.
Not currently.
Okay, there you go.
Bros.
So this is an IPO. I went over a little bit more in detail on this one. I do like it, so you can pick up more on what I don't want to spend too much time on it because it is on the YouTube channel. You can find out more about it. The one of the stocks I do want to go over today, I haven't talked about. If you can pull up AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. So this daily chart, if you can contract that to a weekly. Yeah, I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive. To me on charts, you see what I'm trying to say.
1 second.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Every time I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not 20
It's
year?
not.
Okay.
Give me a second. I will fix this.
No problem.
Fix this.
Take your time.
I got to fix it so I can get that. New workspace. Go ahead, buddy. What are you trying to look at?
There we go. If you could use a trend line, move my face is in the way of the chart. There we go.
Got it.
Yeah, there we go. If you could draw, you could see it. There's a double bottom. And it starts from that left side on the 122. Nope. Yep. There's a new base up on the right. We're 122.49 at the top.
Oh, you want to go from down? You want to go from there to there?
No, I want to start. No, I want to draw a double bottom base up on top right.
You know what? This isn't working. Just describe it.
Okay.
And
anyways, so if you can see it from 122.49 up there at the very top on the right side of the screen, it comes down, okay, and then it comes back up to the middle where that green
I got
bar
you
is.
right here. I got
and then it goes back down again. That's called a double bottom. So these are rare, especially on a liquid stock like this. I tend to gravitate towards a liquid name like this that's creating a double bottom base. And that pivot up there at 114.49, I am keen in on. I do own some call options on this. The November 115s is what I own. I do think that this is a name to watch, and you got to start watching these bases set up, because when you start to have more opportunities like we were having, that's a sign to me that the market's probably going to go higher. When we get a big stock like this setting up a double bottom, that's telling me to buy, me personally. So watch out for those cup and handle type bases, double bottoms. If you don't know what those are, please email any one of us. We'll go over in detail with you on what a double bottom base is. That's it for me.
All right, Don, what's up?
The numbers 114 and 109. Do those have any significance to anybody? They should to Hunter and Alex, because that's
Say
the
that again?
score that I beat them by in our fantasy football clash
Oh, I see.
last week.
Oh, look at that chart.
This is a chart of the pink line is the trend of Guns and Sweetums, who have lost 3 straight, and the green line is the trend of Domination.
Oh wow,
Domination is brilliant.
Domination,
1 3 straight. So we hadn't talked about that in a while, and I just wanted to make sure that I did win the Clash of the Titans.
Sure did.
Is Hunter? Are you?
Our number got hurt.
Are you having a good a good betting season?
Yes, we are currently up about 40% on the initial value that was put in with our little, basically risk management approach to sports betting and doing parlays.
Okay, making money.
Yeah, in the green, 40% profit so far.
There you go. All right, what you got, Don?
The 21-21 list is having a pretty good week, with the exception of one stock, Celsius, that we got stopped out on today. Tune in Friday night for the updates on where they stand. Some really had strong runs. The biggest position we have right now in-house is Ambarella AMBA. That is a member of the 21/21 club. And we haven't mentioned this week, but we're all William O'Neill disciples here in-house, and we did have a classic O'Neill follow-through day on Thursday, which is a strong move and higher volume after a low is made, preferably after the 4th day a low is made. In this case, it was day 8 off the low, and that's what propelled us yesterday to add some exposure in-house. And that got us back above the 21, and we're on track. It's 1:27 p.m. Eastern time now, so we're on track to get our second close above the 21 and the 50 on the S&P 500. As we mentioned, the Qs have not been able to get above the 50 yet. Small caps and mid caps broke out of their triangles on that same day. So until evidence to the contrary presents itself, the market is back to a bullish posture.
Okay. To get that video, revereasset.com, just go Daily Market Insight. It'll be the top video there. And if you want to watch the podcast because you don't subscribe, but somehow you found this podcast and you're listening to it anyway, not quite sure how that would happen, but podcasts. All right. Danny, I got one more thing, and then after you take us home.
Folks, if you like what you heard, please tell a friend, tell a neighbor.
Did you forget he's getting into it?
Wow!
I just I want to be no
way today.
No, I want it smooth. I want you to have the opportunity to start over.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Danny. I've got one more thing.
Hold on.
When you take us home, so take us home the normal way.
Thanks, Tim. Folks, if you like what you heard, or if you just want to comment on my shirt, you like my shirt, please tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Just send them to revereasset.com. They can sign up for our daily market newsletter, or they can email us, any of us, Dan at revereasset.com, Tim at Revere Asset, Don at Revere Asset, or Hunter or Alex at revereasset.com. You want to talk about, a stock you have a question about, or you want a complimentary portfolio review, or you just have a topic you'd like us to take on the show. You can also always call us at old school 855-REAL-WEALTH.
You wanted to say something about your shirt and it threw you off.
It did. I was like, how hard could that be?
Oh, you're fine. Look, a couple things here. I'm a big fan of triggers. So somebody asked me this, like the guys mentioned a lot of stocks. what's the trigger to get in, and everybody has their. You have to have your own plan. Like Alex has his own plan, Hunter has his own plan, Don has his own plan. Danny had a plan for that shirt today. Triggers for me. By the way, I do like your shirt. I'm not being.
I thought it was ridiculous. Then I actually put it on. I think I actually kind of like it.
It's genuinely bold.
Yeah, no, I like it. I kudos to Sid. I like Sid the Kid. What grade is Sid the Kid in now? 10?
She is a junior.
Junior. Oh my gosh. Look, there is a real powerful for me. There's a powerful signal that I like, and it's real simple. Like you see this amalgamation of moving averages here, but the purple line here is crossing through the pink and the green line there. That's
kind of like my shirt.
Yes, it's all code. It's a 521 cross. And look, I talked about Ethereum and Bitcoin like 2 or 3 weeks ago in a video, and they came down to weekly support, and then you're looking for a trigger to get in. This is This is like a classic trigger. But stocks, anything does this. Why are you sitting back? Like you're really basking now.
I am bad.
You are basking. Can you, like what is it? What are they peacocking? You're
strutting.
You're strutting. Yes, you're strutting. Yes. You know what? Scratch the Alex on there. Tom Brady and Danny on the
if I can work the shirt in.
And a peacock.
Oh right.
Yeah,
I agree.
The peacock.
Yeah. Definitely Dan.
But you can do like it work like I love what's happening here in this space. And look at this. Just look at this. China backs out and it just goes up higher. But what gets you out of what if I'm wrong about the dollar? What if the dollar zooms higher and markets zoom higher? Like it's signaling. Like you reserve the right to be wrong, but the moving averages or the price is telling you what markets are doing. And so
price and volume trump all the other indicators.
So many people are concerned with right and wrong. And right here is where China's getting out and telling you that crypto is going to hell in a handbag, or a lot of pieces are coming out. Right. And just look at what Bitcoin's doing. But it's identified right here initially where that white bar is and a 521 cross. Right. And all that represents is the
shorter term moving averages overtaking the short term moving averages.
And it doesn't have to be more complicated. It really doesn't. And so if that happens, take a shot. But have what, Danny? What do you tell people?
Always have a sell discipline.
There you go.
Folks, we'll talk to you next week on Your Money.